Hello everyone, and welcome to a 3-part video where we'll be taking a look at ToB hard mode Verzik methods. They do work in regular ToB as well, although they're less useful. Part 1 will address problems at Verzik and explain a solution, known as the Pogtank. Part 2 will explain the new tanking adaptations, and Part 3 will be a showcase, including a very special clip at the end. On June the 4th, hard mode ToB was released, and players were once again challenged within the theatre. Many of the rooms now provide new variation and difficulty, but while all pre-Verzik rooms are harder, they're also consistently completable. Verzik P3 in particular gained a new mechanic that heals her from 5% back up to over 30%. This continues to cause problems for teams due to the increased attack rate, specials, green ball timing, purple nados, and awkward tank pathing. Less experienced teams frequently have deaths or wipe due to these combinations, as stacks like the purple tornado, green ball, crab pops, and melees deal massive damage when combined. One method to give the players control during enraged Verzik is the Pogtank. First theorized by Mafham and brought to popularity by xZact. This tanking method, while in normal ToB is only greatly useful in solos and duos, now becomes highly valuable in all team sizes, especially when members of the team can sync up. The Pogtank offers the following benefits: does not chance melees from Verzik, dodges tornadoes, keeps Verzik stationary, is tick lossless, and is a cycle with no random pathing. The preferred method to set up the Pogtank is as follows. After webs, begin by chipping Verzik HP close to 20% and lure her to the north of the room and a little west. After yellows, make your way to the south side of Verzik and proc 20%. Now begin pathing south and a little east. Tornadoes have a tendency to spawn due west of a player, which makes this starting point particularly effective since you path east. 5 ticks after purple nados have spawned, click to attack. You can simply count the 5 ticks from when you see the nados, or if you spawn them with a scythe hit, maintain your cycle. After your hit, run to the easternmost tile on her south side. The tick before your scythe comes off cooldown, click past Verzik, then on the next tick, click her. Correctly done, this will put you under her for her attack tick, while pushing you out to the side for yours, from where you can now simply continue the anti-clockwise cycle. The only other important thing to note is that when green ball is fired, you must delay your cycle by 2 ticks one time. This is normally done by waiting for 2 ticks before going under on the next available cycle. Here is an example of a 4-man Pogtank setup. I've lured Verzik to the northern wall. It's not quite as far west as I would like, but this position is fine. The main thing is that it's mostly north. We have our set corners for yellow, and we had plenty of time to organize this after webs. After yellow's end, we move back onto Verzik, and I position myself to the southwest. I try to move onto the south side, but nados spawn. I count my 5 ticks, and then attack Verzik on tick moving to the eastern side. I click through and attack her before her attack tick, and I'm clearly on tick. This may take some getting used to, so don't worry if it, takes a couple of raids. Green ball is fired, and I need to delay my next attack here by 2 ticks. You can see the delay. After the delay, I don't have to do this anymore, so we continue on a 5-tick cycle. Pogtank is really Pog, but can we go further? Thanks to new innovation from Mafham and xZact, I'm proud to be able to showcase a half-dozen new methods that also adhere to the benefits from Pogtank. Each of these methods is stackable, much like a gymnastics routine, and can be combined into a tank freestyle on demand to suit the situation or purely for fun. You may have noticed in this clip, we peel off from the group to dodge the green ball. This is just one of the methods I'll be covering in the next segment. Without further delay, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce the Pausetank, versions 1 and 2. These methods maintain your direction and holds position on a corner of Verzik. Both Pausetanks are identical in function, but version 1 allows for what we call click past, such that you don't require accurate clicks, and can quite literally click past Verzik to path, whereas version 2 requires precise pathing, but has simple tiles closer together. Next up we have the Weirdtank. This method reverses your direction and goes back a corner. As such, Weirdtanking repeatedly will keep you on one side of Verzik. Now let's have a look at the Walktank. Out of run? No problem, just walk. This also serves as a Pausetank, but can be adapted once the tornado is one tick behind you into a freestyle Walktank. Here is an example of a freestyle Walktank after the tornado has been lowered to be one tick behind. Last but not least, we have the Polarity Flip Tank. Probably the coolest tank and my personal favourite. This tank also serves as a Pausetank, but it flips your direction. So if you started running anti-clockwise after Pogtanking, then did a polarity flip, you'd be in a position to do a clockwise Pogtank, which means it's similar to a stall Weirdtank. Now that we've had a look at the Pausetank, the Weirdtank, the Walktank, and the Polaritytank, let's have a look at a showcase of freestyles, including some from the master himself, Mafham. And yes, I might just be using Pog, Pause, and Weird to describe the actions. Here we have a green ball coming during a Pausetank. I do 2 more cycles to catch up the 2 ticks, and then transition into Pausetank version 1. We do another cycle of version 1, and then return to version 2. As you can see with version 1, I'm able to click past, whereas with version 2, I don't have that option. I have a crab coming now, so I want to figure out the way to dodge it. In this method, the pretty easy way to get around it is simply to pog over to the other corner, and the crab will explode for minimal damage. This is story mode, but crabs are able to hit up to 75, like hard mode 5-mans. Here's an example of a Walktank freestyle from Mafham. The benefit of the Walktank in this case, of course, is that if you're out of run, you can still do it. One important thing with this is that you have to have the tornado be 1 tick behind you in order to make this work. The corner setup that I showed earlier is a good way to make the tornado get into that position without risking it, but once it's there, you can do all sorts of fun stuff like he is doing right now. I didn't mention this one earlier, but it is possible to incorporate locator orbing into these cycles. Here's an example of Mafham doing it during the Pogtank. Here's one of my personal favourite clips. We start by weirding back over to the south side, and then pog over to the east. I see the crab coming and then decide to do a polarity to pop it. This is a 0 damage pop, and then I begin to pog clockwise around Verzik. In this clip, we're raiding on hard mode ToB with xZact's 1 defense hardcore Iron Man. We call the ball is on us, so he's able to pause out of the group. I then receive the ball and do the same thing and pause out. The remaining members get unlucky and take a ball hit, but it's good that we weren't in there, otherwise we might have done the same. A crab now spawns to the north side, and I want to check who it's on. I do a double set of polarities to check, and after it pops I'm happy to continue my normal anti-clockwise Pogtank. I may have forgot to mention, there's one final tank. Introducing the Pogtank. This is a 4-man team masterpiece that is purely a flex. It's the Pogtank in its final form. It's Mafham's greatest creation, and it's truly, truly beautiful. Please enjoy.